Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is a three-time NBA champion. His number is retired in Miami. Feels like he could beat everybody's ass in this entire state. Ladies and gentlemen, Udonis Haslem.
Came up here with the champion. He got a championship ring on. Look at that too.
Holy shit!
He got a championship ring on too. That's how you feel.
And the watch. Oh, that is a nice watch.
You look clean as shit.
But TV ready.
That suit is not off the rack.
Look at him.
Holy shit!
Look at nice shoes, boy. Look at you. Got your East outfit today.
Look, the domesticated version. Domesticated version.
You showed up to work today, boy. Look at that.
Yes, sir.
Got a ring on. You see that ring?
Queen. Sheesh.
How many years in the NBA in total?
20.
Jeez.
20.
This guy's going to be collecting his 401k as soon as he's done with an NBA salary. You look unbelievable. The championship ring looks spectacular. Obviously, that's what we're all hoping for here in Indiana. The Pacers have never won an NBA title. Whenever you think about the grandness of that, is that something that the players think about? The weight of that you think is on the Pacers' shoulders, or are they just worried about individual games?
No, I think the weight of it is definitely on their shoulders. They understand they have a chance to make history. It's not easy to get to where they are. Obviously, I think nobody would have picked them to get this far, but me, loving the underdogs, I picked the Pacers to win this series.
Hell yeah!
Me loving the underdogs, I picked the Pacers to win this series. But if it's one thing that I do think they have, there you go.
Finally.
That was good. That's good stuff.
Okay.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff.
We appreciate you doing that, too.
Tricky Ricky, Rick Carlisle.
Yes.
Tricky. I think Rick Carlisle is going to let these guys know what time it is. They understand the moment. They understand that they're fortunate to be in this situation. They will not take this for granted, and they will give their best version and give their best foot forward. So I'm with them.
You're undrafted, so I think that's potentially why you love the underdog story. I think you're also a guy that was a culture setter for teams.
Yes.
We have a guy named James Johnson. Have you seen this guy?
That's my guy. That's my guy.
Okay.
He was my young fella.
Okay, so
Came from Miami.
Makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
With that being said, I've heard he has a black belt. Everybody just says, like, I heard he had a black belt, like he is a real deal.
Oh, I seen it firsthand.
Okay, I love that. I'm going to ask you about his role and you think the importance of it, because I watched it against the Knicks. So there was 3 Knicks fans that were sitting front row. I just so happened to be in those seats that were next to the bench. Felt like I was part of the team. We got a big win that night.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there was a timeout happening, and there was 3 Knicks fans that were front row. And this guy was a great shit talker. Obviously, clearly out of New York, had a little bit of an accent, but he was targeting Tyrese Halliburton in this timeout loudly. Okay, coming over my shoulder. James talks to this man, says something horrendous. I would say something very, 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 just a shot right across the bow.
Yes.
That guy immediately turns his attention off of Tyrese, talks to James Johnson the rest of the game. Okay?
That's leadership.
Bingo.
That's leadership.
Like, I literally watched his role unfold in real time. Everybody thinks he's like a guy that'll come and clean up, or like a body guy if there's a fight. But I saw him literally take a shit talker away from Tyrese to him. That role seems to be very vital. Also, a lot of clapping, a lot of upping, everything like that. Is that the role, and is that how you kind of felt throughout a lot of your career?
Yes, and that is a very important role, to be not only a protector but also a connector. And James Johnson is a guy who not only protects those guys, but he connects those guys in the locker room. When we talk about being a part of something that I was a part of, when you talk about culture, that's a brotherhood. That is something that is not just built in practice from those practice hours. That is spent time off the basketball court, getting to know one of each other's family, getting to know how somebody got to where they point. And also, it's something that me and James always say, have enough heart for everybody. Have enough heart for everybody. If this guy doesn't have enough heart, don't worry about it. I got you. If you don't have enough heart, I got you. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
I remember when there was a conversation, I think, about Jimmy and Spo getting into it a little bit, and I don't remember if you came out publicly and said it or if everybody else was saying it for you. UD will fight for Coach Spoelstra, anybody. If
I was gonna whip Jimmy ass. It's okay. It's okay, and I love Jimmy. That's nothing against Jimmy, but before I let one guy take down his locker room, I whip your ass.
That's awesome. It's very evident why all of your teams.
There's 15 other guys here got the right mindset. Before I let this one guy take down these whole 15, I whip your ass.
So we talked to Mark Messier the other day, and he's considered like the captain, and he was giving a speech basically for the Edmonton Oilers if he was their captain. Do you find yourself doing the same thing for teams? Because I just heard your leadership on display for that one comment, let alone over 20 years in the NBA. Do you feel like you get in a moment where you're like, I wish I could say this to this team or this at this particular time?
All the time. And that's why I got into TV, because I sit at home watching games and I started to complain and throw shit at the TV. Excuse me. I started to complain and throw stuff.
You're good.
Oh, okay. I can say okay. I started to complain and get frustrated at home, and that's why I got into TV, because I always have something to say. Even now with social media, now you can reach out to these young guys. How many young guys got DMs from me? And I ain't sliding in your DMs for the wrong reasons. I'm sliding in your DMs to give you advice. I don't even know you, have never met you, have never played with you, but if I'm watching your game and you're not playing the game the right way, you might get a DM from OG about, that's that bull, cut it out.
You could have said it there. Once again, we figured that out.
UD, you were, I think you still are, in player development for the Heat.
Yes.
Do you just kind of look at like a player like Pascal Siakam and show guys like, hey, this is how you can go through the G League, do it the right way, and then become All NBA, become a champion? What is kind of your strategy for developing guys? Siakam's one of my favorites.
I love using guys like Pascal Siakam, guys like myself, because at the end of the day, you got a better chance of being me or Pascal than you got of being LeBron.
Yep.
Sure. That's just the reality of the situation. I think everybody looks at what LeBron is and what he's capable of, and I take nothing away from what he does on the basketball court and how hard he works. But at the end of the day, everybody ain't gonna be 6'9", 270 and can run a 4.3 and can jump 48 inches in the air. That's just not the reality for everybody. So I like to lean in on the hard work. I tell everybody, don't trust me, regardless of what I say. I can say anything. Trust the work that you put in. Mm-hmm. The work is never gonna lie to you. So I love workers. I'm always gonna bet on the guy that's gonna put the work in.
Work ethic's the greatest thing on earth. It's the greatest trait to have. Siakam, you talk about being 6'9", being able to run a 4.3. He's unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
He ran the Knicks off the court. I mean, it was very clear what he did. He wins the MVP, and his wingspan might be 8 foot.
I'm gonna give you a guy.
Spins that shit.
Reminds me of a guy you play with, Reggie Wayne.
Oh, yes.
He just get out there and go get it, don't he?
Yeah.
He just get out there and go get it, don't he? I know them Hurricane boys now. I'm a Hurricane guy. I know all the Hurricanes that came through here. The Edgerrin James, the Reggie Waynes. I know all them guys. I know you didn't play with EJ, but he was here, though.
I love Edge. Yes. I heard Edge speak. He spoke at Mr. Irsay's funeral.
Yep.
It was maybe the greatest speech of the entire day. Very Edge, very you throughout the entirety while honoring Jim Irsay. But yeah, the U has a great history here in Indianapolis. Reggie's so smooth. I think that is a great way to describe Pascal because he's just so damn smooth. D-Butt, South Florida boy, has a question for you.
Yeah, South Florida boy. First of all, thank you for everything you did for the city, for the organizations down there. Being in the building for Game 3 with the Panthers, even with Bam on the drum, needed that big ass whooping. Thank you for bringing that energy. But we talking about leadership, hard work ethic, all of that. We had a conversation, I think, about Mike Beasley with the one-on-one. You talked about if he was drafted to a different team, maybe things have went a little differently. Now, I know. So, like, Heat culture, that's one of the buzzwords, almost like Patriot way in football. What is it really about being in that building with Riles? We had Bron on, he mentioned it too. What is it about being you, 20 years, Heat lifer?
That was true.
So what is it about being in that building that's kind of different than other buildings? I'm looking at some of these free agents, Giannis, KD potentially on the move that could potentially fit in down there. What is it about that building and who can't fit in down there?
The thing about Heat culture is about something that's always going to be bigger than you. That's the first thing and foremost when you step into Heat culture, that it's always going to be bigger than you. Even the superstars, it's going to be bigger than you. It ain't going to be bigger than Riley, but it's going to be bigger than you. So when you step into that arena, you understand you're stepping into an atmosphere where you're asked to sacrifice from the jump. Immediately. I understand what you did where you was at, Chris Bosh. I understand what you did when you was at LeBron. I understand what you did when you were here, D-Wade. That doesn't matter anymore. We all have to sacrifice. So when you talk about Heat culture, it's about sacrificing, man, and that's a foreign language to a lot of guys when they get in this position. It's easy when they say Q have to sacrifice or UD have to sacrifice, but then when the coach say I got to sacrifice, it's who, me? Me too? No, not me. So now when you have 15 guys, 16, 17 guys, on the same page, one accord, willing to sacrifice for one common goal, I think that's when you get into heat coaching. A lot of times you just don't have that in every locker room because you have superstars, but we had the big three and the little 12. And the little 12 was just as valuable as the big three, and you don't have that in every locker room. A lot of times you have the superstars and the other guys kind of just hang out over here.
Now, I said from this point, because he's in a special, unique situation because he was there for his whole career. Mm-hmm. I'm a person that's been in a lot of different locker rooms and can speak to why that's different. Because you remember when I got there, UD was there with the first day when I got there, him and James Johnson in the gym. I got straight off the plane. When I say straight off the plane, don't take me to no hotel, nothing. I got my bags in the locker room. First thing you do, strip down, weight and body fat. Then you go run until you throw up. And I'm not UD. When I got through that day, I came down in the locker room. UD was sitting there. I'm over here just laid out. UD and JJ. UD say, I ain't even gonna too much about lie to you, boy. He's like, they trying to see if you gonna quit. He like, they just throwing a kiss. He's like, they throwing, you ain't supposed to be doing the stuff you doing yet. He was like, you ain't give up though. He like, Bill gonna take a picture of your throw up every day. I thought the workout was done. I done threw up down here into the court. He come walking down there and snapped the picture. Said it's in what's his quote? It's a great day to work.
Great day to work. Great day to live.
Great day to live.
So it's not like that everywhere, you're saying?
No. Listen, the thing that makes it different, because everywhere you go.
Can you win in 2025 like that? 2026?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But like the difference is this, because like I've been places, say like Bill, the guy we talking about. He come say, you got to work out, you got to lift. He gonna tell you that and walk away. Other places, you got people that's gonna try and massage the situation and work with you, and we could work. Nah, look, this is what you got to do. If you don't want to do it, go up there and talk to Pat.
It's frowned upon. It's frowned upon for the guys that quit. It's frowned upon to not be in shape.
Yeah.
It's frowned upon from the other 14 guys. So before Pat has to say something, before Spo say something, the guys in the locker room have already policed this situation.
I don't know
if you quit now, then you could quit in the fourth quarter.
I don't know how you. Abe, I love that. I just got back from Paris Island boot camp for the Marines, and love everything about it. But it's like that's their mindset. Is like we need to. It needs to be hard now. Because whenever we're out there together, obviously it's different than a basketball game or a football game, but we're going to need you when we're out there. So we're not scared of hurting your feelings right now because we're going to need it inevitably. Yep. I do wonder in basketball if in 2025, 2026 that can go. Because I think Carlisle kind of has a similar operation. And they talk about the cardio. J.J. Redick mentioned it with the Lakers. We need to be in better shape.
It happens in pockets. Ime Udoka ain't playing no games out here. Popovich, before he stepped away, wasn't playing no game. They had it's places where there's a real culture in place. Obviously, Miami is a standard, but I mean, it's still pockets of teams around the league that operate in that way.
Well, how did it work with Shaq then? Because it felt like, at least in Shaq's documentary, he would basically talk about the first 2 months of the regular season is when he's just getting into shape, and then by Christmas he's living. How was it in Miami with Shaq then?
How was it?
They had to alter it a little bit for big fella. Okay. He wasn't on the 5% body fat scale like everybody else.
He used to put oil on when he was trying to do it.
I'm gonna get into that. He got down to about 10-12% body fat, which was great for him.
Yes.
But he used to put baby oil on, so when they try to pinch him, when they try to pinch you to take the body fat, they used to slip. They used to slip. So he probably was about 15, but after it slipped, it was about 10 to 12.
The best is when I got there, they would tell the stories of like how they had to get a new scale because he would try and hide the scale. They had the joint that you ain't animals on these scales, right?
This is the move. So we had guys that would be trying to get around the scale. Every Friday was a weigh-in, so Thursday nights, guys were drinking the things that you do before you do a colonoscopy, just so you shit your pants out, let it all night. Yeah, AQ Shipley is the person I'm referring to. He had to lose like 12 pounds every Thursday night. He'd get on a scale, and he would try to sneak just one finger on the thing in front of you. You could lift off like 5 pounds if you just press it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Guys are like making all these rules. It sounds like Shaq with the baby oil was the right play.
That's awesome.
I think AQ Shipley maybe should have been lubing up a little bit to get out there.
But 7'3", 300-pound, greased up.
At least 300.
I was like, yeah, you go ahead and take your body fat by yourself. I'm I'm going to just wait outside.
Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, with that era, like you played through both of them. There's old clips coming out of the finals in 2006, and there's two guys on the block, and now everyone's out on the perimeter. How was that transition for you as a player, and just kind of watching the league change as from 2006 for the next 20 years?
I mean, fortunately for me, I was undersized anyway. So once the league started to change a little bit, the guys that could guard multiple positions kind of came into play. I was one of those guys that guarded multiple positions. The thing that changed for me was when the three-point line became the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? It was just, we don't want anything but dunks and threes. We don't want any mid-range. So once the mid-range got taken out of the game, I think that changed my career a little bit. But I think
made some threes, though. That was crazy. I couldn't believe that, but you made some threes.
You know me, perception ain't reality.
Mid-range killer.
How are you able to shoot with that pinky?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Because I'm
feels like
right-handed.
that would. Yeah, but I feel like that would jab.
Not at all. Not at all.
Pop the ball.
That's just like a guide hand. It ain't really doing much.
Yeah, but I mean, that thing's not guiding anything. It's saying turn right.
You just put it on the side of the basketball. Yeah, it don't matter.
How long's finger been like that?
He said that pinky game.
Long as I can remember. Long as I can remember. What's the point of getting it fixed? I'm probably going to break it again. That's what I said. I'm just going to break it again.
Jersey or basketball?
Basketball.
Just bang?
Yeah.
How many busted fingers in basketball?
I've broken them all. They've all been broken.
Well, carrying around all those rings. Yeah, you're a little heavy down there.
Yeah, they've all been broken. But guess what? Never missed a game, never came out.
Hell yeah.
Boom.
That's what I'm talking about.
Karen has a question for you.
Yeah, you've been on so many good teams. You talked about all those teams that went to the finals. I mean, as an 8 seed, you guys went to the finals. You went Shaq and Wade, the big three. What was the one constant with all those teams on why they went to the finals? And do you see that in either of these two teams?
We weren't the best team, but I think we were the most connected team.
Yeah.
We were the most connected team. And that's what I learned from the great leaders. I think all the leaders that I played with, the Shaqs, the LeBrons, the Alonzo Mournings, is regardless of how good you are, how good you coach, if you don't really mess with your teammate like that, if y'all don't really get along, if y'all haven't created a brotherhood in this locker room, because I tell you what, it's easy to punch in from 1 to 2 or whatever your hours are, but when you're playing for a brother instead of a teammate, it just takes it to a whole nother level for you. So I think the power of connection, and that's what you guys have here. This is what these guys are talking about in Indiana. The power of the brotherhood.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? To me, that beats a talented team 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. I'm taking the brotherhood. I'm taking the connected guys.
Okay, you picked the Pacers in this series. Go ahead, D-Bud.
No, on that note, like, obviously lifetime Heat fan, you were there. 2011 Heatles. You go up against a Carlisle coach team.
Yes.
What is it like being in the trenches against a team that's coached by him? Obviously, that was a much different team, very different makeup. But I feel a lot of similarities with this Pacers team. What's it like being in the trenches with Carlisle?
Trigger Ricky. I'm telling you, Trigger Rick is a hell of a coach. Rick Carlisle is a hell of a coach, and not just offensively, because we talk about what they do offensively, but defensively as well. He threw a zone at us in that finals. And you would think that 15 grown men can score on a zone. We didn't know what the hell to do. Went all the way to the finals and could not score against a zone, out of all things.
Yeah.
So Rick Carlisle threw that. So, for me, I look at Rick Carlisle and I look at that team and I say to myself, he's the X factor. You have a lot of guys. You have Obi who's going to step up. Benedict finally got it going last game. He's a guy who you depend on offensively as well. Miles Turner got it going. But I think Rick Carlisle is the X factor.
Okay, let's talk about Daggs on the other side. People saying he's an incredible coach. Obviously, he's younger than Coach Carlisle for the Oklahoma City team. What do you see from their squad that he potentially brings?
He's a hell of a coach. And also he's a Gator, so go Gators. I got to give him that now. I got to give him that. Got to give him that. Got to give him that.
You guys might have a football team again. You know that?
Basketball champs.
Yeah, basketball champs. Might have a football team again, too.
Got a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, that QB.
Yes. And also Napier's, culture, settle it in.
Yeah, they turned it around.
Yes. Did not give up last year.
Yes.
Yeah, but I love what he does. And one thing what I'll say about Dagenham is how you can tell that he's a good coach is that he got a young team playing the right way on both sides.
Yeah.
It's not just playing offensively the right way. They play defense the right way. They hold each other accountable. There's 5 guys on the string. You can tell guys are rotating and pulling triggers. You can tell they go through dummy defense in practice. Yeah, you can tell they dig the elbows. They take their 2.9 on the weak side. They do everything. So they're very well coached.
What should we look for tonight at the beginning that's going to indicate who's going to win this game? Can we tell?
Well, I think both teams are going to be more settled in. I think we've only had 6 lead changes in 2 games, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? 6 lead changes in 2 games total is crazy. So I think this will be more of what we're accustomed to. a lot of lead changes. I do think Tyrese Halliburton will be a lot more aggressive in the first half to set the tone of the game. Even if it's not in full court and half court, I think he needs to target those bigs in the pick and roll. They're in the drop coverage. That way he can get to his pull-up three. You also got the throwback to Miles Turner. So he needs to attack the 5-man. On the other end, when I look at OKC, man, I was a little disturbed because, once again, I picked Indiana. It was scary to me that they went on that run in the second quarter without SGA in the game. Yeah. That made me a little nervous if I'm Indiana. So I'm looking for those guys on OKC to look at that lineup and say, okay, we went on a 19-2 run with SGA on the bench to finish out the second quarter. We can go with this lineup a little more. So I'm looking for them to play that small lineup with just one big, but to have Wiggins, Casey Wallace, Caruso, and J-Dub running the point. That was a good matchup for them. That was a good lineup.
All right, we'll look for that. Obviously, need to do pick and roll with the big man, pitch it, do the whole thing. Got the 5 hole.
Dig the elbows.
They can hit that, dig elbows out.
Chop wood.
Bop wood. Yeah. We appreciate you so much. Are you on TV today, or are you just always dressed?
I'm on TV today, but this is domesticated OG.
No, it ain't. Don't try to get him fooled now. Listen, he show up and he look presentable like he's supposed to be for work. He dressing in flip-flops if he ain't doing this. He got flip-flops, comfort going.
Yeah, as you should. You've earned that.
I'm Chicago turned Florida boy. You don't wear gym shoes no more. You wear flip-flops all the time.
Trust me, once again, I just look like this. Don't run up on me on the streets playing. I'm not the guy. I just look like this.
Now you are the guy.
We class of 98 too. You know, we same class of high school.
Man, this guy been playing against each other for years.
Since 15. That's when we first met each other.
Yeah, because in basketball, you guys, like in high school, are basically playing against the guys that you know are going to make it, right?
We met each other in Teaneck, New Jersey at ABCD Adidas camp.
We got this thing, we say real recognize real. So when I got to the camps, I'm like, don't want to hang out with those guys. Don't want to. Them Chicago guys look like the kind of guys. Them look like my kind of guys. These Chicago guys look like our kind of guys. You know what I mean?
Jeff Teague buried Chicago in the first hour. I don't know if you heard him. Yeah, he buried him right to his face. Really? Well, he actually was looking this way.
Said Indiana's better at basketball.
Yeah, Indiana's better at basketball.
But Indiana ain't got no chips.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Indiana ain't got no chips.
A man who's won 3 NBA titles, a cultivator of culture, incredibly fly-looking tough guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Udonis Haslem.